Good morning, everybody. Hope y'all having a good day. Uh, been seeing a lot of stuff going on, and guys, it's just crazy what all's been going on in the world. Uh, like I said before, is one thing's happening right after another. It's going to be hard to kind of keep track of it, and that's true for everybody. So a lot of people paying attention to different things, head on the swivel. But recently, we've been seeing this stuff going on in Los Angeles and other cities throughout the United States. These shifting of troops and equipment throughout the interior of the United States. And this has been going on for quite a while, since last year, in fact. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Recently, we've seen them moving troops, military troops, to Los Angeles. We also have been seeing them move recently into Washington, D.C., the big parade, Army celebration / Trump birthday / Juneteenth celebration that's going to be going on in D.C. There's some connections to a movie. If you haven't watched Civil War, about what happened in it and everything, and the president and what went on there, so I highly suggest that you watch it. Anyway, uh, the number of troops has really been alarming. What's been moving around? We've got our southern border, our east and west coast watched. I'm not too sure about what's going on up north at our borders there, but I'm sure it's being watched. Uh, if we take note of how many troops have been moved around to these different areas over the past several months since last year, it will be an alarming amount. Now, we take into account that in the West Coast recently, of course, it was announced that 4,700 troops have been moved into the Los Angeles area, or into the areas affected by the so-called rioting that's going on, which those also are suspect as to who or what the origin and the reason for these are. Uh, Also, we saw that Trump is having a big celebration, and supposedly he has moved 98 pieces of artillery and armored vehicles into D.C. But upon recent videos that we've been watching, there's a lot more than just 98. There's also was supposed to be brought in 6,600 troops, 6,600 troops for this parade also. Uh, so that's just for this parade, but we need to back up a little bit, guys, and go back several months to see what other troops have been moved into what areas, and since the inauguration especially. Now, remember that during the inauguration, Trump had 4,500 troops moved into the area. So he also had a helicopter attack squadron moved into the area right around the inauguration times. They never went home. We also seen that after several protests in D.C., that Trump had brought in some more National Guard and troops into D.C. They have never went home. Altogether, guys, it's hard to estimate and everything how many has been brought into the D.C. area with their equipment over the past 6 months, but I would guess over 10,000 with their equipment. And this includes helicopter, heavy armed vehicles, armored personnel carriers, and stuff like that. And not only also with the Marine Corps and their strike capabilities, that's also there. And we look at the southern border, how many troops over the past several months have been stationed there. And I dare say it's well over, or well close to 20,000 itself, if not more than that, along with the Navy patrolling the coastal areas and the Gulf and everything with their ships and their military members. We got quite a few down there watching the southern border. Also, in the West Coast, recently they said they had sent 4,700 troops into the area with the rioting that's been going on, protests, whatever you want to call them. And that in itself, it's kind of a lot of numbers. We also remember that during the fires and the disasters that happened in Los Angeles, the National Guard was sent into the area to help the cleanup activities and all that stuff. They also have not been sent back home. So I'm not sure the number of National Guard and other troops that's in the Los Angeles area up and down from Ventura Beach on down to Los Angeles, San Diego, but it is quite alarming. These also are there with their equipment also, as well as arms. So we have 3 borders, guys, being watched right now, heavy things. Now, there's thoughts about that's going on that we are going into a martial law situation, which it does apparently look like it. That's going on. But also we see a lot of alarming trends saying that China's getting close to our borders, Russia's getting close to our borders, the cartels arming up trying to come across our borders, etc., etc. A lot of scary talk and everything like that. But we also see, like I said, like these people have been talking about, like this Saturday, they're starting up the No King protest. And as you all have known, if you've been watching me, I've been calling Trump moves towards being a king or monarch of the United States, much like what Kennedy was supposed to have done back in the 60s. And I see him marching towards us one by one, each step, militarizing the police, stationing military at our borders, watching our coastal lines, adding in and militarized police with them, and militias being armed and going. And guys, I see something getting ready to go down here that's very, very bad. I might be wrong about it, but it's not going to be to protect our borders from invasion, even though that is going on. It's also to keep us from getting out. Also, I do believe martial law is getting ready to be declared. One of the things I've been watching is some of the wording that's used in these uh, deportation orders that's been going on and how they're wording this. Now, if you remember back several years ago, they started calling several different types of people, threats to the safety and security of the United States. Y'all remember those terms? They should stand out in your mind very strongly at this moment, because the way these deportation orders are worded, it's anybody that's considered a dissident or somebody that's a threat to the safety and security of the United States, or an immigrant, illegal immigrant, can be and will be deported. This is anybody that's considered a threat to the safety and security of the United States can be deported. And this is people that believe in their gun rights, the freedom of speech, that believe in going to church, that believe in high school football, whatever, All these people that's fundamentally, this fundamentalist belief system, all these people have been considered to be threats to safety and security of the United States. You all remember this? This all started back right after 9/11. And speaking of 9/11, guys, I want to add something into this. We've been watching several stories about what they found in Iraq during the Gulf Wars and everything like that. And several things. They say Nimrod, some of them say this, that, and the other, and whatever it was. But this is from my first hand-on experience, guys. They knew about these artifacts in the Middle East long before they even telling us that they knew about them now. Because back in the mid-70s, we was training to go into Afghanistan, Iraq. We was training for desert survival. This is for us to invade the desert, the Sahara Desert, Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia, etc., guys. We was training for this. I was training for this during 1975, 1976, and 1977 for an invasion into the Middle East. So at that time, they had already knew that these artifacts, the Mesopotamian artifacts, were under the sand in the Middle East at that time, and they were already planning to take them at that period of time. So it's something to think about the 9/11 stuff, guys. So I do believe that the 9/11, even though it brought in the Patriot Act and major security changes in our system and everything like that, but also gave us a reason to invade Iraq, in the Middle East, to look for these artifacts, Mesopotamian artifacts, etc., etc. There's a lot of stories goes on with that, guys, on down the road and everything like that. But what I'm getting to, the point is that we knew way back in the 70s that these things existed. We knew back in the 70s that we wanted them. And we knew back in the 70s that we were going to get them. Okay. Anyway, back to what's going on currently. I'm seeing the thing set up for martial law, guys. And one of the other things I talked about, remember I said dissidents, anybody that is a threat to the safety and security of the United States, whatever that might mean to one person or another. Wait a minute, just to back up here just a second. I forgot where I was going here. Remember that saying, guys, back in a while back? I don't remember exactly everything, but It kind of they came for this type of person, but it was not me, so it did not matter. They came for this other person, it was not me, so it did not matter. And so forth and so on, went down till, well, they came for me, and there's nobody left to care, right? Y'all kind of remember that thing. I'm not exactly sure how it went. But we are seeing a systematic thing. They came for thee, but not for me system going on. We are seeing certain segments of the society being extradited, exported, deported. And remember what I said, anybody considered a threat to the safety and security of the United States can be deported. They came for thee, but not for me, until they run out of these people that are these, and they came for me. This is what's getting ready to go down, guys. If you ain't part of the system, well, you could be deported, moved to an insane asylum somewhere else in another country, and the whole erasure begins again. I hope y'all have a groovy day, guys. These are things really that we need to think about, keep in mind of what's going on in the world. But I think we're going down a bad highway. Later, taters.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!